Shalom, shalom, shalom. As always, I want to begin by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rahak, Kodash. Double honors to the apostles, elders, bishops, men of great millstone. Peace and salutations to the house of David, the 144,000, to the men, women, and children scattered throughout the four corners of the earth of the hopeful elect. To you I say shalom. Um, as you can see the disclaimer, fair use, fair use. So whenever you see this, I'm going to be, what's the word? We're going to be looking at a quick video. We're not going to play all of it. We're just going to air a segment and bring forth some scriptures and, let that be the reason. As always, I like to think of this the beginning for my lessons, and it reads Proverbs 9:9, give instruction to a wise man, and he will be yet wiser. Teach a just man, and he will increase in learning. And how is this accomplished? The fear of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai is the beginning of wisdom, and the knowledge of the holy is understanding. So with that, let's just get right into it. This is ET Now, Jeffrey Sachs speaking, and he's speaking on the Trumpinator. So I don't know how I may just go through it and then bring out, or I may just kind of let it play in the background and bring forth scriptures, but we'll see how we do it. So without further ado, let's get right into it. And once again, I'll let you see the Jeffrey Sachs big remarks on Donald Trump breaks the internet, U.S. News, World News, ET Now. So that's the state lesson. That's the station that I'm listening to, or the page. And again, fair use. Not getting any monetary gain out of this. So let's get started. It's probably going to be a commercial, so we'll skip through it as soon as possible.
Trump announced last week that led to that financial bloodbath are not come back. So I don't think we're going to hear again about those numbers after 90 days. 90 days in U.S. time now is infinite. It's eternity. We'll never hear those numbers again. Where did those numbers come from? Something, again, so stupid you can't.
So the first scripture that I want to bring forward, because 90 days, we're never going to get that back. These things, as we careen down this road to a final end for, Babylon the Great, we come to Jeremiah 51:9. And we'll start at 8, and it reads, Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Matter of fact, I'll jump up to 7, and it reads, verse 6, flee out of the midst of Babylon and deliver every man his soul. Be not cut off in her iniquity, for this is the time of Yahweh, Bashem Yahweh Shai's vengeance. He will render unto her a recompense. And we know that, the fleeing out of Babylon right now is strictly as far as letting go of the, what's the word I'm looking for? All of these different philosophies, the religions, the ethnicities, all of these things. we're removing ourselves from them. We're repenting of the sins and the wickedness that we've been associated and a part of. We're moving in fear now of the true power, the true power of the script of the Bible. We're no longer worshiping a false image, you know, and we're preparing ourselves for the return of the King. So this is how we are fleeing out of the midst of Babylon, out of her rationalization and her reasoning, you know, desiring and praying that we be part of those elect who are taken up from Babylon in her destruction when her recompense comes. It says Babylon hath been a golden cup in Yahweh Bashem Yahushai's hand that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine. All these nations, they follow after the whore. They follow after this bitch because she's the one who's pushing all of these different ideologies, all these different things on the world. Moism, alphabetism, feminism, just it's literally the one bringing back all of the old demonic powers, so to speak, and dressing them up, in a new fashion and presenting them to the world as though they're something new. But in all actuality, it's the same old things, gods of Egypt, the gods of Samaria, the gods of Babylon. All of these are the same. And she's made the whole world drink of this nonsense and madness, and the nations are they've lost their damn minds. They're all taking part in it. They're all being, led by it. And they're in a state of insanity. It says Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. How for her, take balm for her pain. If so be she may be healed. There's no going back. You know what I mean? These so-called 90 days, that nothing is going to be brought back the way it once was. Nothing can be reset and put back together. It says, we would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. See, she's not going to be healed. Forsake her, and let us go everyone in his own country, into his own country, for her judgment reacheth unto heaven, and is lifted up even to the skies. And we know that, hey, that judgment is going to come in the form of thermonuclear missiles, intercontinental ballistic missiles. They're going to pelt Babylon with everything they have.
Can't believe that any country would do this. But the idea is the following. As I said, if you want to know what your trade balance is, you earn some income, so you sell some services to somebody and you buy things. And if you
I'm not gonna back it up, but basically he's declaring the incompetence of the leadership of this place. The lack of understanding, the lack of wisdom, the lack of knowledge, the lack of any ability to rationalize thought. So we're going to come back here to Jeremiah again, and this time we're going to Jeremiah 49, and we'll just read 7. And it reads, concerning Edom, thus saith Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai of hosts, is wisdom no more in Teman? Is counsel perished from the prudent? Is their wisdom vanished? You know, verse 8 says, flee ye, turn back, dwell deep, O inhabitant of Dedan, for I will bring the calamity of Esau upon him, the time that I will visit him. And we know that that visitation is already begun, you know, and Esau's not going to he's not going to remove his neck. Let's continue on.
If you spend what you earn, you're in trade balance. Technically, you're in current account balance. Now, most of us, I work for one employer, my university. So I run a big trade surplus with my university. And then I run a pretty big trade deficit with the grocery store that we buy our groceries from. And if I have to buy shoes, I run a trade deficit with the shoe store and so forth. Trump's idea, just to add to the craziness of it, is that you should run a trade balance with everybody, not an overall trade balance, but a trade balance with everybody. So you should sell a little bit, you should work a little bit for your shoe store, you should work a little bit for your grocery store, you should go around anytime you want to shop, you trade something. I'll write you an essay if you'll sell me shoes. And you make your living somehow trying to balance your trade with all of your counterparts. Well, this is insane. This is why you have a market economy. You don't have to have balance with every transaction that you.
You know, in Proverbs 11:1, it says a false balance is an abomination to the Lord, but a just weight is his delight. So even when they declare balance, even when they declare, you know what I mean, that they're trying to, it's a false balance, you know. It's not taking into account all of the different avenues and the different things that are involved with it. You know, how America, you know, is raping the different lands in which it has, you know, trade with, how it destroys economies, how it moves through your land, you know, imposing its will upon things. They use these papers and this pseudo knowledge, and they basically try to pretend as though, you know, it's an unbalance there, but the unbalance is always in the favor of Babylon. It's never an unbalance in the favor of the nation that's being dealt with.
Do with somebody, but what Trump said was, "Oh, Lesotho, they sell us more than we buy from them, so they're cheating us." That's literally what he said. Literally what he said. Okay, is it completely delusional or rhetoric? It's delusional, okay? Just so you know. It's weird. But anyway, now then he calculated a formula, okay? Lesotho, we have to tax them by the amount to reduce the imports from them so that we have balance with Lesotho. And then they made some absolutely stupid formula that you would not accept in a first year, third week class.
You know, and you know, as Esau's tongue is falling upon himself, you know, one side of them are revealing the wickedness of the other side. This is Proverbs 19 and 2, and we're going to read it in the AMP version, and it reads, also, it is not good for a person to be without knowledge, and he who hurries with his feet acting impulsively and proceeding without caution or analyzing the consequences, sins, misses the mark, and this is, hey, this is the state of Babylon today. They're moving without wisdom. They're moving without knowledge. They're hurrying. They're making stupid moves. They're running headlong into calamity. I like the CEV says willingness and stupidity don't go well together. If you are too eager, you will miss the road. Said Darby. Also, that a person be without knowledge is not good, and he that hasteth with his feet maketh false steps. It says, where there is no knowledge of the soul, there is no good, and he that is hasty with his feet shall stumble. So you get the picture. I mean, basically, the leadership, those who are in charge, the moves they're making, man, they're leading themselves down a road that they will not recover.
It came out of the U.S. Trade Representative's office. They probably were told, do it overnight, the boss wants it. And then they came up with a list of tariffs, country by country, based on the bilateral trade balance. You cannot make this stuff up. This is not it used to be not a Mickey Mouse country, my country. But this is Mickey Mouse. This is not, and I'm sorry, I apologize to Mickey Mouse. He would not do this. Mickey Mouse is smarter than this. So we are in a crazy land, actually, with this. Now, it stopped for a moment. We'll never hear those numbers again. I don't know what we'll hear in 3 months. God help us, really. Because it probably won't have to do with trade. It'll have to do with something else. But we can't normalize this as what's the rationale, how to negotiate, what to do. Of course, 60 countries immediately said, we'll rebalance with you. And the president of the United States literally used the language I'm about to use. I'm quoting him because otherwise I would never say this. He said, 60 countries are coming to kiss my ass. He said that in a public speech, the president of the United States. So this is, I'm sorry, I apologize, but it's presidential language.
Yeah.
Okay? I'm only speaking at high political terms. So we cannot normalize this.
And the sad part is it's already been normalized. It's not, there's no turning back from this stage, And this is, again, in Proverbs 11 and 29. It will start at 28. And it reads, he that trusteth in his riches shall fall, but the righteous shall flourish as a branch. He that troubleth his own house shall inherit the wind, and the fool shall be servant to the wise. And we see that, this current leadership is trouble in its own house. You know what I mean? This current leadership is in full on fool mode. And nobody is reining him in. Nobody is curbing him. Nobody can control him. He's defiant to all of the powers that be. And none of them can figure out what they need to do to put an end to it. And they're not going to. The Most High is in full control of all the things that are taking place. And whether there'll be a lull in the action or whether it increases, it's all controlled by Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. But Hey, these things are what we've looked for. You know, these things are what we hope for. These are the signs of the end of Esau's world, and this is what you know what I mean, man. This the times that we've looked for are now. You know, so like I said, really wasn't going to play the whole video. You can always go and watch it. I put it in there so it could be seen. And Lord will, you got something out of that little section in the scripts that we brought forward. Again, as always, we close with Ecclesiastes 12 and beginning at 13, and it reads, "Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear the Most High and keep his commandments. For this is the whole duty of man. For the Most High shall bring every work into judgment with every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil." So with that, I'm going to close by giving all praise, honor, and glory once again to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Raha Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, bishops, men of great millstone. Peace and blessings to the house of David, the 144,000, and to the men, women, and children scattered throughout the four corners of the earth of the hopeful elect. To you I say, Shalom.